friends, welcome in or welcome back. It's a Monkey Mar. Before we get into today's video, please make sure you click that subscribe button, the bell for notifications, and of course the like. So I decided to wait 2 days before updating an article on Melissa Caddick because these articles are popping out like wildfires. And I think they are starting to tighten up the noose and making her husband and her son, who is the son of another man who is the last name of Caddick. And why is he not picking up the boy? I wish there was somebody that knew them that would email me and we could go on and do a live together. Alright, so after reading this article, I'm going to tell you my thoughts because I don't know. I just don't know. Cheryl and Faye thought they had nearly $1 million invested with friend Melissa Caddick. Then she went missing. Choosing who to entrust your life savings to is a fraught decision. So Cheryl Kraft Reid went with someone she thought she could trust. Miss Kraft Reid, 53, and her wife Faye Reid, 69, thought they had nearly $1 million of superannuation safely invested with Melissa Caddick's boutique financial services firm Maliver. They are the first clients of Miss Caddick to speak publicly. She'd been in our family lives for 25 years. Miss Kraft Reid told 730. Wow, so 25 years they've been a friend of hers. Because we are friends, we probably didn't ask as many questions as we should have. They had their money invested with Miss Caddick for about 5 years and thought their investments were being well managed. A statement from September shows their superannuation fund had grown by more than $330,000 since they handed control to Miss Caddick. But last month their financial security disappeared along with their financial advisor. Gone girl. I consider myself an intuitive woman, and I feel stupid, Miss Kraft Reid said. I feel like I've just been taken in. The couple are deeply worried they will never recoup what they've lost and may now have to sell their home to fund their retirement. So the key points are Melissa Caddick went missing in November after her home was raided by corporate watchdog ASIC, and Cheryl Kraft Reid and her wife believe they held a ComSec account and cash savings worth more than $900,000 through Miss Caddick's financial firm, and Miss Caddick has not been seen since November 12th, 2020. My opinion on that first part is if she actually planned her getaway and she took all of these people for millions of dollars and left her son, a friend of 25 years, did what she did, then she is definitely no empathy, cold, calculated, selfish woman. So what is she doing with Anthony Coletti? I don't know. All right, let's get into the second article. I am also going to touch on a couple of comments from part 8 of Melissa Caddick. And we actually were talking about this right here. So, like I said in the last video, I do not know the laws in Australia because I live in Maine, the USA. But the mega mansion belonging to a missing Sydney businesswoman, 49, could be seized despite her husband and son still living there after she disappeared last month, owing investors millions. So, we know the brother owns 1%. That obviously does not make a difference, and I think they're tying the noose tighter because she probably is hiding, and they're trying to make her come forward because now her little lovely husband and her son are going to be with no home. So, receivers will take control of missing Melissa Caddick's assets after court order. Liquidators were appointed to her wealth management company, Maliver Pty Ltd. Caddick vanished from her home in Dover Heights on November 12, 2020. She was under investigation by corporate watchdog at the time. Her assets were frozen but granted $800 per week living expense allowance. Her brother has sought to hike up the amount of money for brother father. A missing millionaire's mansion in U.S. holiday home could be seized by the corporate watchdog after allegedly defrauding investors of $13 million in savings. Melissa Caddick, 49, has not been seen since she left her home at Dover's Heights in Sydney's East on November 12, just 2 days after authorities raided her home and seized her assets. Yeah, but between the time that they raided her home and seized her assets, she knew they were onto her. She banked it, she planned it. Like, this could go either way. I mean, okay, so a lawyer of Miss Caddick's brother, Adam Grimley, told the federal court that as a part of their effort to recoup the investors' lost money, a caveat had been placed on their properties by the Australian Securities and Investment Commission. The businesswoman owned her $7 million home and also a condominium in Aspen, the millionaire's playground of the U.S. Earlier this week, the same court heard how Miss Caddick provided for her teenage son and second husband, Anthony Coletti. So why is the teenage son not with his biological father? David Soulon, the lawyer for Mr. Grimley, said on Tuesday that Mr. Coletti's reliance on his missing wife meant he should be entitled to access some of her assets to pay his ordinary living expenses. Aw, I bet he's suffering too because his little sugar mom is not there. But ACIC's barrister Stephanie Fendikian slammed that idea, calling the requested amount of $48,080 a week staggering. That's a pretty expensive lifestyle. Ms. Fendikian said the amount claimed by the family came without any explanation or evidence. The requested amount is far greater than the $800 a week Ms. Caddick permitted Mr. Coletti, a former hairdresser and DJ, to have before she went missing. So he was on an $800 a week allowance. That's a little freaky, right? I mean, $800 a week allowance, and he DJ'd. Sure, okay. Poor little spoiled Anthony Coletti. Say something if you know something then. So Mr. Grimley's representatives have since proposed a lower figure, Ms. Fendikian said, although she didn't disclose what that number was. Ms. Fendikian told the court the family had wanted $2,000 a month for income protection insurance premiums without evidence whatsoever to explain or justify that rather large figure, she said. A further $600 was sought for transport, Ms. Fendikian said, but she told the court Mr. Coletti does not work at the moment. Okay, well, that answers that. I guess he's not a DJ at the moment or a hairdresser. So it's difficult to understand why such a figure needs to be attributed to transport, and the defendant has done nothing to explain that to ACIC because they have to make their monthly payments on all of those Audis. But barrister David Soulon for Mr. Grimley told the court that the $4,800 figure that ACIC was bandying around was without context. A flood of investors have come forward since the mother of one's disappearance hit the headlines. Ms. Fendikian said, since Ms. Caddick's mysterious disappearance, unsurprisingly, distressed consumers have contacted ACIC. They claim to have up to $13.1 million with Ms. Caddick, and the majority have not received any funds back, she told the court. Justice Markovic today ruled that she was taking the drastic step of appointing receivers over Ms. Caddick's assets, an act that wasn't opposed by Mr. Grimley. She also appointed provisional liquidators to Ms. Caddick Wealth Management Company, Maliver Pty Ltd. The parties will keep negotiating as to Ms. Caddick's family's living expenses, with the judge finding Mr. Grimley has done the best he can in the circumstance. Ms. Caddick had the sole shareholder and director of Maliver, and her disappearance has the job of securing investors' money more difficult. The parties will keep negotiating as to Miss Caddick's family's living expenses, with the judge finding Mr. Grimley has done the best he can in the circumstance. The brother probably knows. Miss Caddick had been the sole shareholder and director of Maliver, and her disappearance has the job of securing investors' money more difficult. Miss Caddick is accused of misusing tens of millions from investors in Maliver, which included a syndicate of Perth doctors. An affidavit released to media on Tuesday makes clear just how Miss Caddick is alleged to have misused millions of dollars. Bombshell claims in the court documents alleged that millions in investor funds was deposited into Miss Caddick's bank accounts over a 2.5-year period. I wonder if they're referring to her 7 offshore bank accounts. She's then accused of splurging on luxury brands such as Dior, Chanel, overseas holidays, limousines, and even protein shakes. That's weird, like protein shakes with Dior, Chanel, overseas holidays, limousines, and don't forget the protein shakes. An affidavit seen by Daily Mail Australia states that 20 million of investors' funds were deposited into her accounts between January 18th and September 18th of 2020. ACIC opened its investigation into Miss Caddick in September. She's had plenty of time. The corporate watchdog alleges she would open up fake ComSec accounts for her clients and send them fake monthly reports on how their shares were going. One investor's report provided to Daily Mail Australia shows him raking in an astronomical 257% return on Macquarie Bank shares. ACIC's investigation found Miss Caddick spent an enormous amount of luxury clothes, overseas travel, and even protein shakes. On her American Express card alone, Miss Caddick allegedly spent $229,277 at Dior, $187,000 at Centauri Jewelers, $48,000 at Chanel, and $53,000 at Cosmopolitan Shoes. The documents also reveal how Miss Caddick also splurged on holidays to Fiji, New York, and Aspen. Man, I really pulled that Fiji out of a hat. I had no idea she went to Fiji when I first mentioned it. Victims of Miss Caddick's alleged fraudulent activity believe she faked her disappearance as authorities closed in on her. NSW police are examining several lines of inquiry. I mean, all right, let's get into some of these comments because, all right, Kathy C., very interesting. If she ran, I hope she has a good reason for her son. Me too. Judy Barons, she's on the run for sure. Money, thank you for sharing. Human Animal. If you know how her personality is, like, behind these pictures, I would really like for you to drop me an email. Like, you can stay anonymous and all that good stuff, but if anyone knows Melissa Caddick personally, I just want to know what she's like in real life, like her personality. Robbie. Even though the borders are closed, there is still daily flights in and out of Australia. I reckon she's cut her hair short, colored it reddish, put blonde highlights, used the rest on Anthony's hair while he was sleeping, paid for ID for air hostess, and got a passport off the dark web, attained an air hostess uniform, boarded a plane to Los Angeles, then flew on to New York. That's interesting that she does have ties to New York and Colorado. I think Anthony was given a to-do list, hence the phrase in the appeal, please come home, everything's been taken care of. Well, now Anthony's getting ready to lose his house, and he no longer has his allowance. So they're definitely tightening the noose on Melissa Caddick. Why on earth didn't a high flight risk with cash not have a few tails on her? Why weren't the AFP not sitting and watching the house? See, I agree, human animal, because in the States, if you do something and they're watching you, like they are watching you, they got a car at your house, they're in your garbage. Hey, Peter Corey. So intriguing. Thanks for the following. I read papers twice a day. Most share same journalist, but now several saying ACIC believe she has other property overseas. Yeah, she has the condo in Colorado. And I do not know. And she has some type of ties to New York. I don't think she has real estate there. But I'll look on one of my little nosy websites and see if I could figure out the Colorado. So let me see. Robot Ninja, fascinating. I guess we will need to consider the stakes. It does seem crazy that she'd leave her son, and it's hard to imagine him being in on it. I agree. Because, yeah, an interrogator would crack him. But how much trouble was she facing? Maybe leaving her son for 6 to 12 months is not so crazy when compared to other outcomes. Was she facing jail time? Could she be setting up new identities somewhere with the intention? She could be. Of fetching her son, but so huge that cops aren't considering husband a suspect. If they did, you'd think that would give him more right to be invasive and check out his phone. It's hard to imagine she's truly gone fully silent. She might have, she's got the money to do whatever she wanted to do, and she had time to figure it out. The only thing is the son and her friends of 25 years. Like, how do you do that to your friends? And then Human says the son's dad is a successful attorney. Where is he, though? Like, why is the son not going with the father? Sassy Scosar, I do think the husband knows her plans to flee, but what if he double-crossed her, killed her, and is sitting on the money? A similar con happened here in the UK years ago. He pretended to drown in a canoe accident. His wife was in on it, but they let their 2 adult sons believe he drowned. He was found some years later in Cambodia or Vietnam, I believe. His wife had actually been on holiday a few times to see him. Anything is possible at this point. Only time will tell. I agree. I don't know. It doesn't seem like Anthony Coletti is the brightest crayon in the box. I bet he would crack. The brother seems, like I said, we're going to follow this one because Robbie, I reckon this is going to be a mini series. It could be. This is definitely an intriguing story. All right, guys, let's real quick look at this list that she spent her money on. Okay, so this list is what Melissa Caddick allegedly spent money on. It's a court document obtained by Daily Mail Australia breakdown how Miss Caddick spent her millions. According to an affidavit by an NCIC investigator, expenses from her American Express account alone from December 2017 to August 2020 include. I do not see this woman surviving in the bush. I think she might be in the States. So let's go see if we can find out where her condo is in Colorado. So let's see how this plays out. I am going to stay on top of it. And with that, guys, it is a wrap. I want to thank you all for coming in. Thank you for watching. Please like or dislike, whichever you prefer, and subscribe. Everyone have a good day or a good night wherever you are in the world. And stay vigilant. I am out.